Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I got my 1,000 on singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. Before I go into these, let's talk about this week's tip. I know that me collecting currency makes me kind of the oddity. It seems that everybody collects coins and very few people actually collect currency. But coin shops still do have currency. Now, they may not devote a whole lot of space on their shelves to currency, but that doesn't mean that they don't have any. So, this week's hint, make sure to ask your local coin shop if they have currency tucked away in the back room or in a back shelf or in a box or something. The reason for that is because they probably priced that stuff to make a profit on it when they got it, maybe years ago, which means those prices on that stuff haven't changed since those bills saw the light of day, which means they're still going to make a profit on it. They priced it to make a profit, but the value may have gone up. And since they haven't gone through to check the prices, you're going to be getting those bills at a significant discount. So that's this week's tip. Ask your local coin shop if they've got currency tucked away somewhere. You're liable to find a really good deal on stuff. All right, that's my $1,000 that I went through. Let's take a look at what I found. First up, I've got a trinary, 2s, 7s, and 9s on this particular one. Pretty good shape. 2s, 8s, and 9s on this one, and I got to bring this one back because if you look at these numbers, they are so close to being identical. 297 versus 298, then you got 99, just so close to being identical numbers. That's why I collect the trinaries to begin with, because you're eliminating so many different number combinations by doing that, so it's a lot easier to find bills with matching serial numbers. Now, this is an interesting trinary, 66, 555, 777. The only thing that would make this one better is if it was in order, 55, 666, 777. It's an interesting ladder if it would have been that way, but still, there's a trinary that is probably more collectible than most, just because all the numbers are grouped together like that. Wish it was in better condition, but what are you going to do? Now, the trinary here is 0s, 4s, and 5s. Bookends with the double 0 there. Quad 0s on this particular one. Really nice paper quality as well. Quad 2s on an older note, 2006. And this one has quad 8s. Good paper quality here. And then we've got one 5 of a kind. 5 0s. Would have been nicer if they were on the end or to start the note, but 5 of a kind nonetheless. People tend to collect the zeros regardless of where they are. Everybody would prefer them in front or in back, but versus all the other numbers, you can usually get away with zeros as well. Then I did find a binary this time. I don't come across binaries too often in my searches, but there it is. All 2s and 3s in this particular one. I looked it over. I wanted to make sure it wasn't a repeater or a radar or anything else like that. Nope, just a binary. Not that I'm complaining. Always happy to see a binary. They are rare, that's for sure. Did find some stars. Couple zeros to start this one. Really good paper quality. Couple zeros on this one as well. Also 2017. This one is 2009, so we're getting a little older on the stars. And this one's a 2006. Really good paper quality, especially for a 2006, and it's a star. Maybe I'll get lucky and that'll be something. Did find some older notes, 1995 on this particular note. 1988A, and once again, when you talk about 88As, that's the first year that you're able to find a web press note. 88A, 93, and 95. What you're looking for there, where this B is, the B indicates the location on the sheet that the bill was printed. But on a web press note, there was no location because it wasn't on a sheet. It was on a continuous roll of paper. So there would be no B right there. It would just have the tiny little number, usually just a 1-digit number at that. So that's how you identify the web notes. Those start off around 15 and work their way up to thousands if it's a star note. Another 88A. Another 88A. This one's kind of neat because it's got the X as far as the serial number goes. The furthest they made it to was Y, and when you consider each letter represents roughly 100 million bills, there's a lot of bills printed in this series. And another 88A. Really good paper quality on that one. Another 88A. You'd think with all these I would have got lucky and caught one web note. Nope. And then the oldest bill in the group, this one is a 1985. 1985 from Chicago. Oldest note in the batch. Pretty good paper quality on this for as old as it is. It's actually a really nice shape. A little bit of a dog ear on the corner, but the rest of it's good. So that's what I found this week in my search. So what did I pull out? Well, this time I pulled out a $1 silver certificate, and I'm sure some of you notice, well, newcomers will notice, oh wait, the numbers are in blue, and that's how you identify a silver certificate. That and the fact that it says silver certificate right there on the top, $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. But the other thing you're going to notice at first glance is this seal. Now, we're used to seeing seals that are green. Green seals are Federal Reserve notes, but like I said, this is a silver certificate. So silver certificates are done in blue ink. So usually the silver certificate would have a blue seal right here. However, this one has a yellow seal. You can see it's from the series of 1935A right there. But the yellow seal, and I'll flip this over so you can take a look at the back. The back of the note does look like what you'd expect to find on a $1 bill. It does not have "In God We Trust" written on it, so it is a godless note. But back to the front. That's funny, back to the front, Metallica song about pretty much what we're talking about. This yellow seal indicates this as an emergency note, an emergency currency note from World War II. Now, this note was used in North Africa. This is called a North Africa note, and they used this note so that we could still use American currency over there, still buy and sell stuff with American currency. However, if large quantities of this currency was taken by, I believe, well, by Germany at the time, or by the Axis powers, I guess that would be more appropriate. If this was confiscated, all we'd have to do is simply declare any U.S. currency that has a yellow seal would be null and void. And by doing that, all the money that would have been stolen would be useless. So that's why it's called emergency currency. Now, they did this for North Africa, and they also did this for Hawaii. Hawaii, they used a brown seal instead of a yellow seal, and Hawaii actually has the word Hawaii here, and written across the back as well. But this is the other half of the World War II emergency currency. This is the North Africa note. They made these in $1, $5, and $10 denominations. And let's take a look. Well, one other thing I want to point out here is that it has a gray numeral number 1 over here. And I'll show you why that's significant in a second. Let's take out the big book and see what it has to say. When we flip to emergency currency, here we go. Right here, emergency notes issued during World War II. Issued for Hawaii after the attack of Pearl Harbor. Those are the Hawaii notes. They made those up to the 20. And then issued for use with the armed forces in Europe and North Africa. These notes are silver certificates with the signatures of Julian Montague and with a yellow seal, not blue. So there's the $1, just like what I had there. And you can see the 5 underneath it and the 10 below there. You'll notice both on the 5 and the 10 that the numeral on the left-hand side is written in blue ink, whereas the 1 was just done in the standard gray ink. I'm a big fan of the blue ink. I did a $5 bill that wasn't a North Africa note, just your standard $5 bill from 1934, just showing how I like that particular blue ink. But yeah, on the $1 bill, they only did the gray printing. Now, if we go down to the bottom, you'll see that the $1 note starts off right on the top there, $1 1935A. They printed 26, almost 27 million of those notes. Even in very good, they start off at about $35 and quickly escalate all the way up to $375. Now, what's interesting is that's the price for a $1 note. If you go down to the $5 note, they made 16 million of those, and instead of being 35, those are worth 50. Now, there's a couple that were short printed. The $10 notes were short printed, so those prices go up. But if you go down a little further to the 1934A $10 note, you can see that that's $40. So you've got $35 for the $1 note, $50 for the $5 note, and $40 for the $10 note. Now, of course, as you get better in circulation, you can go across there and see that the $10 note does get up there to $750 as you go by in condition. But it's just interesting that the lower condition ones, the $1 note, holds its value just as good as the rest of them do. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. My 1935A $1 North Africa note from World War II, the emergency currency. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. I love reading all your guys' comments, and I'll talk to you guys next week.